Yo, it's Lexi and Ryan. Welcome to our presentation. We will teach you of our patterns. When I say ancient, you say civilization. Ancient.
Civilization.
Ancient.
Civilization.
Woo!
Presentation will be on handheld weapons throughout the several civilizations. The pattern that emerged was many of the weapons were based off each other, although they were adjusted due to different enemies and to make them easier to be built in the different environments. Say what? Is the mine. The mine 42-inch long club resembled the Aztecs with the same capability of cutting off a horse's head. They also used axes with heads of stone, obsidian, flint, or bronze, making the sharp edge fatal and the dull edge could stun. The Aztecs had multiple clubs, like the one the mines also had, or the club which was shaped like a baton and made of oak. The was also a major weapon, as the 7 to 9-inch double-sided flint blade made it unique from other civilizations' bronze or copper. In the Inca civilization, they had palm wood clubs shaped like double-edged swords and star-shaped maces made out of copper or bronze. In China, the soul of the samurai was the katana, and it was strong enough to be used defensively and sharp enough to cut through limbs. They also had the kama, which started as a farming implement used for cutting and slashing. In Rome, the gladius was a sword used for stabbing and slashing and was the main Roman weapon. Along with the gladius, they had the hasta, a 6-foot spear with an iron head and a shaft typically made of axe. Last but not least, in the Islamic states, that was able to throw a flexible dart that could kill a deer up to 40 meters away.
Yo, this is Lexi. Welcome to my part of the presentation. This part of the presentation will be on art throughout different ancient cultures. The pattern is that all the forms are the same, yet a little different. Now let's get into it. The first culture is the Maya. They had many art forms like the others, but made them fit into their own culture. With sculptures, for example, they had different sculptures and shapes of their gods or anything important to them. Next are the Aztecs. The Aztecs had similar art forms such as statues or sculptures. They again do things to match their culture, which makes them stand out next to other cultures. They also had mass and pottery, which they used in their everyday lives. The Incan culture is next. Their art forms consisted of weaving, sculptures, pottery, and melted lust. The other 5 cultures that we will be talking about do not consist of melting lust. How interesting! This made them unique and different from the other cultures. In China, they had different styles of art than other cultures. They had pottery, calligraphy, architecture, fine decoration, sculpture, and finally jade carvings. The pottery that they made was nicely decorated to be placed in any kind of building to be presented. Their sculptures were made to represent their gods and important figures. Another ancient society was Rome. They had sculptures like any other culture but were unique because they had cameo, vase art, jewelry, coin art, portraits, plus metalwork. Their art usually was represented by famous people at the time it was made. It was also represented with gods like any other culture. Finally was the Islamic states. They had calligraphy just like China, architecture, sculptures, painting, and scripts. Their art was very unique because it was mainly based around their religion and love for gods. Their calligraphy was very advanced, unique, and completely different from any of the other cultures.